and we'll see what happens from here. But this is what we talk about is, Larry's a dissertation on continuous suffering and rejection. I said that it's social crucifixion. Carrico, same thing. He presented these things.
Oh yeah, he got blasted. Yeah, he got shut out.
Not by Francis Knoll. Francis Knoll was behind this thing. Not by
no, the Notre Dame. The Notre Dame
people.
Right.
They got billions.
Yeah. Well, but that's what moves them, because a lot of them are not really out to do the work of Christ, but the work that they feel is going to be these hat racks themselves. Look what I did.
That's right.
And I think it should be kind of the way to go that nobody's name is on any building.
That's right.
I've had people over the years come to me here in Rome City and said, well, and I said, well, I always wanted to build, a beautiful grotto down there again and restore what had been there, but do it better. And I can still see it, and it's one of the things that frustrates me that I wasn't able to do that before I got kicked out. But, people would come in and say, well, how much do you think you need for that? I said, well, that project there is going to be at least $150,000 to $200,000. Is
that right?
To do it. Well,
electrical.
Right. I had to put in, I wanted to put in toilets so that people were convenienced there. And
they don't have to
run all the way back up, because there's nothing worse than
no, you're right.
Somebody makes a trip like that, and then somebody has an accident. We're not dealing with always the healthiest people.
No, you're right.
No, you got weak bladders. You got other things going on. You got people with illnesses. You got to understand who you're serving. And over the years, I learned that you got to put the amenities there, the services. And they said, well, if you were to get that, if I was to write that check, would you put my family's name on it? I said, absolutely not.
Did you really? You wouldn't roll over?
I said, absolutely not.
Jeez.
They would just.
Couldn't believe it.
I said, no one's name's going on that except for Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
Good for you.
And I said, that is it.
Well, you think they would do it just based on that, right? It's don't let the left hand know.
No, I never hear from them again.
That was that.
Yeah. And these are people that was a,
that
was a month's income for them.
Okay.
They were nothing. There was nothing to them.
Did you know you were going to lose it when you told them you weren't going to put their name on it?
That I was going to lose the donation?
Yeah.
No, but it was kind of par for the course, but no one ever came. And I had some nice donations from a few people, 10,000, maybe 20,000, that helped take care of things for a half a month or a few weeks. I was burning through $25,000, $30,000 a month.
And based on everything.
Well, yeah,
to run the place,
staff to go, utilities to pay, all these things. I had to keep the whole thing going.
I can't.
Now they're just keeping one wing going.
I can't imagine. I always remember thinking, oh my God, how's he going to do it? Lord, you're going to have to do it. You
had to do something, because quitting was not an option.
Yeah.
After everything else that had happened, it just wasn't an option. And I always felt the pain of these people come in, and I still feel the pain of these people that would come in desperate need. To have a sick kid, or the spouse is ill, dad's dying, and he's got 6 kids.
You got a lot of action, though. You got a lot of miracles when you were there, you and Irv. And
oh, my gosh.
You guys got a lot of action.
There's a bunch of them that are contained in that books there we printed off the blog site. But why isn't it happening now?
Well, it's not happening now because our Lord needs certain things to be in the place. A couple of books he was talking about.
Yeah, well, this is just off the blog site that I had done, oltiv.org. And then the court trial was come along, and you and I were talking. I said, I have to preserve this. And you put up the money to help it get printed. And so Google was able to print all that for me and send it to me. And so I had it in written form, so we were able to share it much more easily. But I even edited out a lot of the stuff that was just too much to put in there. Yep.
Larry hasn't told you the story. I don't think he has, about when Pope John Paul II sent a couple emissaries, I believe from Rome, to talk with you.
Yeah, along with the U.S. ambassador to the Holy See came by. And I'd had a nice relationship with him. That was Mr. Nicholson. And Jim Nicholson had served as the U.S. ambassador to the Holy See under the Bush administration. And then I think after that, he went on. He took care of. He was in charge of the VA. After that, or he was VA, and then he was ambassador. He's an elderly man now. He's probably 90 years old. I don't even know if he's still alive, but he was very open and wanted to know about something on U.S. soil possibly happening. And I think that it was through his introduction and inquiry to the Vatican, or the Holy See in particular, and telling about what my plans were for building soccer facilities and ball fields and things like this for the kids, to bring them together so we'd have an opportunity to talk with them about life choices and things like that. You make a mistake. Baseball is a great team sport. Everyone makes an error, sometime along. But what happens is the rest of the kids on the team automatically forgive them, but the kid many times won't forgive themselves. They'll carry it into the dugout afterwards. Oh, right. Man, I screwed up. It's all right. Get up there and get a hit.
Right.
Kids are positive that way. And I wanted to play off of that. And I think people need to live in life like that a little bit better, too. You got to live life more like a kid.
No, our Lord said we're not getting into heaven unless we come as these children.
Well, and I think
certainly.
I think he had it right. You got it. And I tell people they come in all uptight and all. You could feel their butt cheeks are clenched. It's like they're just. It's like you got to lighten up. It's never been about you. What are you worried about? They're not putting you on a cross.
So how did this person representing the Vatican in Washington?
Well,
did he tell somebody at the Vatican what was going on?
No, he told the guys at the Holy See, which is their diplomatic arm. He mentioned it to them. There's a guy in Rome City, Indiana. They were like, Rome City? Is that a joke? That was always the first joke that you had to get by.
Actually, there's a story behind that.
Well, there's a number of stories, but they were like, everyone always said, Rome City, is this a joke? No, it's the real thing. But he was telling them about the
soccer,
the athletes, and my call to that. Well, he didn't know, but the guys at the Holy See and John Paul II knew that he was planning to talk about releasing his world youth program to include soccer, to bring the children of the world together through soccer.
Oh my God!
And so they were coming to know why soccer? Why are you? Because we haven't even announced this yet. And I said, well, it's about youth and bringing them together. And Our Lady's asked me to do this here, to bring her children, all of her children.
Wow.
And I said, what better way that I knew is through sports and team building. And so I was just trying to take that. And baseball and softball were on the decline, and soccer was on the rise.
Did John Paul II have any connection to soccer?
No, he was a great athlete. He was a soccer goalie back during the war and all like that. Yeah, he was a great soccer player, and he wanted to continue being a soccer player, but his call to being a priest was a little bit stronger.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was really attached to soccer.
So
he'd been a goalie.
The people from the Vatican, did they drive up to? Were they in a limousine, or what were they?
Well, they came in a car. They probably rented the car, but Nicholson was there, and then three guys from the Holy See.
Did they have the little hats on?
Well, they're the black hats. They were wearing more like fedoras, And they came in all dressed in black with black fedoras.
Wow. And
it looked pretty menacing when they came in, but I just kind of chuckled at them. And I said, what took you so long?
Yeah.
I'm thinking hopefully they're going to, leave me some sort of help, But
yeah, that's interesting.
There was none of that. Mr. Nicholson tried.
But, did he really?
Yeah, I think he did. And they could all feel it. They could all feel something going on at that place. They came in. You can always tell when they got this, look going on, why? Because they're not really looking for something. They're trying to figure out why do they feel something. And that's why I always would tell people, even a blind man can see that place.
We had a blind lady come in. She felt it.
Oh, yeah.
Folks, this is one of the most remarkable stories in God's mission of salvation. And for me to be here, I'm sure Larry would say the same thing. I mean, but really, this is not, we could be doing other things.
I got a lot of things to do.
But this is kind of like a wild ride. And so many things come up. But what I hope to do, along with Larry, if I'm invited to participate, is, look, things come across our desk. We look at them, and we discuss them. We say, well, what do you think? And then, what do you think you'll do if you think you need to do something? And how about purity? Are you willing to go to work for our Lord? Even try, even if you fall, get back up. But comes across our desk, and he's got many stories. I've got stories.
Oh, I haven't even tapped the stories. A lot of people think I've told. I haven't even touched.
I know
the surface. It goes on. I mean, I lay in bed sometimes and say, how do I tell that story, and how does it matter?
To say it right.
Right in context. But there's so many there. They're all laid out. But the beauty of it is that it's natural, and it's a lot of times it's unexpected. For the people. A lot of times people would come in expecting, they come in hopeful for a miracle for their sick family member or something like that. And I just got to the point where I was expecting that they were going to get healed. I got so used to it. I didn't get excited about it.
To that extent.
Yeah, it was like I was expecting that something was going to happen because all the pieces of the puzzle were lining up. They came in, they said the right thing, coming in.
You could feel it and sense it.
Oh, yeah. You could feel it.
I think at one time you said that he's 30 years old now, but you and Irv.
Oh, it was a total.
That
was a total set. Well, every time we pray, you'd feel so much heat coming off these bodies.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Sometimes, I'd feel like my palms are scorched.
Right.
There'd be so much heat, and Irv would say the same thing. And the oil that he used, this oil impregnated cloth that he used, it would start to be dripping because the heat would be so much. It would start to melt this oil in this cloth. It would start running down over the people's hair.
Oh my goodness!
And we'd see, the drops coming down. It'd be on their shoulders.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that much heat.
That's biblical.
Was coming on. Well, it was kind of part of the practice, I think, and but we would see these things. But it was always wonderful to see the person who was in need getting help, and you'd see that they were being helped, and you could feel that the Holy Spirit was coming down. But in every group that would come in, there would always be one person be like the doubting Thomas, the skeptic, the Uncle Harry, I'm just here, well, I'm just driving them,
I'm just here to be a big pain in the ass.
Well, no, I didn't really want to come, but here I am. I think it's all bullshit, blah, 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 But
you had one like that one.
I had a lot of them.
I remember
like
they kind of converted at one point.
Oh, well, but then they see something happening right then and there, and they just go blah 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 blah. They don't have any words, and they don't know what to think, and they want to take back everything they said about the bullshit, an hour beforehand. And I would tell them, they say something's bullshit. I said, well, wait until we're finished, and then you tell me if it's bullshit or not. And I said, just wait.
Yeah, you also had a vision about I think when this goes down. That you saw a vision of the springs where spring water was bubbling up, and I mean that's very hopeful. I mean to look to the future that our Lord plans on something magnificent in
well, He's going to deliver to the need. I think there's going to be a need for it, and there's a reason why Bill and Hillary Clinton and those guys were trying to go around.
That's a wild story.
Suck up all the minerals.
You're going to have to hear this thing.
Oh yeah.
He told me about it, but he doesn't tell me details because it would take a lot of time for him to explain it. So he'd give me just a brush of it. But when he actually tells the story, I mean, some of it is funny, the way he interacts with him.
Well, the way Hillary Clinton clogged up the toilet. She was so pissed off at me.
Oh, that's wild.
She goes in and uses
the go ahead. Let's end with that. Tell him that story.
You want to hear that story?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was 2007, 2008, and Hillary Clinton is running for president against Barack Obama. She's seeking the Democratic nomination.
Right.
And she's running through northeast Indiana. They were doing a stop in Kendallville, which is about 10 miles away. And there was a guy on her team who was actually Bill Clinton's right-hand man and fixer, whether it be like his Michael Cohen or whatever, but he was I don't think he was as dumb as Michael Cohen, but he was a pretty astute guy. And he contacted me one day and he said, "Hey, we're going to leave Kendallville here we're at, and we wanted to come by and see your place, we understand you have a great source of mineral water, the spring water. And I said, yeah, I do. I said, I figured they wanted to come by and get some. But they came by and they started to lobby me. They wanted to buy the mineral rights to the property. And I told them, I said, no. I said, the mineral rights aren't for sale. I said, if you want the mineral rights, you got to buy the entire property, because that's the deal.
And it had conditions.
Well, you have to still continue to allow, if you were to buy it, to allow the pilgrims to come, for the healing graces and things like that at the property. So
Didn't you tell me it had to be under a bishop too or something, or no? Did you say that? Or?
that was what I told Fostoria
Okay.
at first. So they had operated
Okay.
on the magisterium. I was just trying to get helpful money at that time because I was starting to get a little tight. I was always tight, so who's kidding who? But anyway, in then walks Hillary Clinton through the west door. She had been in the car. And they're coming in, and she's thinking that she's going to be the cog, the final pin that's going to seal the deal.
Welcome to it. My brother sang for her in New York, but yeah, this is going to be Larry Young's going to.
Oh my God, Hillary! Oh my God! She comes in and she's acting all Hillary-ish and all like this. Oh, wonderful place here. What did they do here? Oh,
right.
Knowing nothing, and I turned to Bash. I said, is she part of the deal of the people buying? She says, yes, this is what I'm working for. And I said, I told her, I said, I wouldn't sell you this place for all the tea in China.
Unbelievable.
After what you did, after what your husband did. And I said,
because that was the impetus for you,
right?
Right.
That was what
He's
brought
right.
me in was him doing that intern Lewinsky in the Oval Office and then lying about it. I said, if you wanted my vote, I said, you would have walked out on him at that time. I said, I know my wife, who is a real woman, would have done that. And I said, and you let every woman down when you stayed. She says, well, that was none of your business. I said, it was all of our business.
Sure, public figures, President of the United
and
States, the First Lady.
No, I said, if you want the water rights, you got to buy the entire property. And I said, and that's the story on it. And she says, well, I'm going to use the restroom and let's get out of here. So she goes and uses the restroom, hightails it out of there. They all walk out, doors close. I never see them again. Toilets overflowing in the bathroom. She stuffed that thing with every ounce of paper that was in that bathroom.
God. And this was the potential next president of the United States.
Talk about a mean streak.
Well, there's a story that she goes down to Guadalupe, or she goes down to Mexico City, and she sees
She's looking at the Tilda.
Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Yeah.
And you know the story?
Yeah, I think it's hilarious.
And she says,
well, she's looking at it. She says, oh, it's wonderful. She says, who painted it?
and the priest said, God.
and she's like looking at him like, and I mean, how does your advance team take you into something like that that's a world-class
and you're not
relic, and you have no idea what it is you're looking at?
Yeah.
And she was in the place in Rome City. She had no idea where she was at.
Wow.
She just thought it was another place.
We don't know. We're just saying.
No, I'm just saying. Birds of a feather.
You look into it and find out, if he's still living.
Do I got to make some edits here? But he was in on buying this water, and they were trying to gather up as much of the water sources in North America. Why? Well, the reason was they thought that World War III was going to be fought over natural resources, and water was going to be a major issue.
Okay.
Because clean drinking water was not going to be available.
And if you want a bottle of water, they're willing to sell it to you.
Well, why did they want mineral water and spring water?
Why is that?
Because they want things that come from a deep-fed source in the earth. Because all of your surface water, if there's a nuclear fallout, you cannot drink it.
Oh, really?
The only water you'll be able to drink safely is from a deep source. And the water in Rome City comes from a very, very deep source.
My God, Larry.
So even the Army Corps of Engineers...
Well, it's frightening, especially for somebody that wants to run for president of the United States, that she wants to buy water rights so that she can profit. I mean, if she was the president of the United States, she has the biggest arsenal of nuclear weapons in any country.
And so I hear. But this is what they were doing, and I'll bet you dollars to donuts. I don't think they've sold them off, but those water rights and those resources are going to be the thing that determines who lives and who dies in the event of something like that.
I think you're right. Yeah. Sure. Because they want to eliminate, I think, with the exception of 500 million people, is that was supposed to be one manifest of one world order, new world order.
To reduce the population.
To reduce the population. And so that, listen, we're going to, in the future, Larry and I are going to talk about the trial and what led up to it, and a lot of the ins and the outs. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be discussed, and we're looking at, what, a 2-day thing, maybe, and covering some of these things on your trial.
It's going to take a number of hours to cover it, because Alex was one of the key witnesses for me in that trial, and he held the jury captive for a full,
I hardly remember.
Full afternoon.
I hardly remember of all of what.
Oh, they loved you. They loved you. They said, Larry, afterwards, says, you got to write a book, you got to make a movie, and Alex has to play Alex, because they just loved you. They said he's just right out of central casting. They were just hanging on every word you said.
I know the Holy Spirit was kind of moving me around a little bit, but I mean, we're just talking about. They were asking, is there money in this thing? There's no money in apparition. Then they said, well, what is your interest in it? Well, initially, my enthusiasm with Larry and the mission that he had was that these beautiful books about our Blessed Mother's a dissertation on Holy Scripture. So right away, I knew this thing is like a bomb. It's going to be a great. I didn't realize all of the suffering that was going to.
Well, there's a lot of fuses, I think, to that bomb. And any one of them, they're all lit. Which one's going to go off first?
Right.
That's how I feel. I think that things are ripe for this change to happen, whatever it is. But this change is going to it's going to happen instantly. This isn't going to be a slow.
It's right.
And it could be. Thing. And I've had very strong inclinations and thoughts about natural disasters on a level that no one could even imagine.
Is that right?
At this point, oh yeah.
Selective in certain parts of the.
I don't know. It could be a worldwide catastrophe, because the only way you're going to get the world together is if you have a common threat.
No, you're right. Yeah, right.
And I'd thought about writing a book, about that, and I don't want to give away the premise of it, but it was something that the whole world would be able to see every day. Kind of like, not really like the sign, but a sign.
I think your idea about going to Amazon and having them for distribution and to be able.
Well, that's the way you do things.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Even large publishers, they don't print 100,000 books. They print it as it's ordered.
Okay.
Because the capability is there. They'll print. You order a book, they print it, it ships out the next day. They don't.
Maybe I should get involved with that with some of the stuff that I've published.
That's what I said. The days of printing all these books and trying to go out and sell them individually is gone. You just let Amazon do it. They call it print on demand. And they print you a fresh copy, and it goes out, and they take care of everything.
And you don't have an inventory of.
You don't have to deal with an inventory. You don't have to go around count dollars and do all that stuff. You just they pay you a little bit for your portion on it, and like I said, I'm not really interested in selling books. I just want to make sure that people don't come out and say, "Well, Larry said," or "Larry said this," or "Larry said that." No, Larry didn't say that.
Right.
I think Jesus gets a lot of play that way too, and I wear the shirt. It says, "I never said that." Jesus, because I get a kick out of some people. Well, Jesus said, "Well, I don't think he said that." But it's something to think about. But I don't think Jesus really said that. So.
Yeah, sometimes he'll never give you more than you can take. I don't know. I've seen sometimes I've gotten a little bit more than I can take.
Yeah. Well, that goes without saying. But a lot of times, you don't ask for it, you get it. But sometimes when you ask for it, then you get more. But ask for the help in covering it. But I never thought it would end up like this. I never thought there'd be so many strings to tie together. But I think it's very interesting, with this whole thing with what's going on, whether it's true or not with Benedict XVI, and whether any of this is true or not. But it sure seems like it. It sure seems like something's going on.
Well, if Our Lady is telling you to warn the public to get their kids
get them out of the schools. Get them out of the public schools.
He's not making this up. He's trying to tell you got a problem. If you can go anywhere else with your children, and he explained it, how they set it up with Dewey and all the rest of it.
And then ask tough questions of your teachers if you do have them. Because there's going to be a huge exodus of our older skilled teachers. They're going to get the heck out. Why? Because the kids aren't behaving. They can't control them anymore. So even the older school teachers are saying, "I'm getting out."
The older ones, they've had enough.
They said, "No, I'm not going to put up with this crap." The younger ones are coming in, and those are the ones that are freshly indoctrinated. Those are the ones that
They'll go along with it.
Well, they're demanding, about the pronoun stuff and all this stuff. They have drank the Kool-Aid. They are making the Kool-Aid.
Okay.
They are distributors. They have become franchisees of this because they think they're doing the right thing because they haven't been told or shown the truth of stuff. They don't know the Bible. They don't know Christianity.
They've been conditioned. That's right. They don't know the Bible and all the rest of it. So you got modern.
Jesus is, they just says a bunch of bullshit. They say there's really no proof that Jesus even lived on the earth. I heard that one.
Yeah, they're that far gone.
I'd like to show them a shroud.
And we're going to do, okay, folks, in the future, here's what we got so much. Larry has such an inventory of things to talk about. We have the Shroud of Turin, which we're going to present here. We're going to continue with the trial, Our Lady of America, and the things that are emerging. Pope Benedict and the supposedly indictment from heaven. We're going to talk about the Antichrist and the rebuilding of the Third Temple. I was in 1993. I was in Israel, and I met a guy by the name of Reuven Prager, who died in 2022. But he was involved in the rebuilding of the Third Temple, and I have a piece of Holocaust art that I want to present that he had. That Yad Vashem, which is the museum for the people that suffered during that Holocaust, refused this painting from a painter from Auschwitz. So we're going to be talking about some of those things, the Antichrist, and we'll look at it from the perspective of the doctors of the church, Roman doctors, the Greek doctors, cardinal. Some of the cardinals that have written about it and stuff. But we have such an enormous amount of stuff that we can. And it all comes together, folks. This is all leading. It's a collision course between evil, darkness, and good in the light. So we'll do the best we can. It was a pleasure being here with you today, Larry.
Well, thank you. I know it's a lot of work, but when you come back, we need to get into the 4 cardinals that were delivered.
Yeah. Here, why don't you read them?
I know one was Cardinal Burke. Another one was Gerhard Müller from Germany.
Yeah.
And he was head of the Doctrine of Faith for a number of years. Cardinal Zen in Hong Kong.
Sarah.
And Sarah.
Yeah. So I've read this, but Larry has a better depth of knowledge of who these.
Well, they're all fighters. They're all guys who are standing up for the truth. I mean, Mueller, just this year, he chastised the American bishops and cardinals for not shutting down the American politicians favoring abortion laws. He says, why aren't you doing this? This is your job to be doing it. Do your job. No, and no one really answered him for that.
So Larry's talking about 4 cardinals that Pope Benedict XVI says in this deposition wanted them to have this full document before them.
Because he knew they would all stand up for the truth. They would all fight for the truth.
There you go, folks.
So, I was looking at what did all these 4 guys have in common? Well, they're all fighters. They're all fighting for the truth and the faith. And Benedict had appointed Mueller to the Doctrine of Faith on that. And my question for him, though, while he was championing and being in the Doctrine of Faith, why wasn't he calling out the U.S. politicians when he had the big sword?
So why do you think he wasn't?
Well, because he was. I don't mean to be gross, but there's an old saying that no bishop pisses in another bishop's backyard.
Okay.
Okay. You let them take care of their own business.
Absolutely true.
Okay. But no one was taking care of their own backyard.
And he should have called it out.
Well, he should have, but he finally did now.
Okay.
After he'd been drummed out.
Okay.
And so he said, why are you not doing it? But the situation is obvious. So, but we got to thank these guys for standing up because these are 4 guys that are, still pushing for the truth. They have the strength, the courage, the wisdom, and the grace to get this done.
Beautiful, Larry.
And we need to keep supporting them because it's the only way that our church is going to survive. Now, Jesus and the Catholicism and the beliefs are not the church. The church is another structure, but the Catholicism is part of the church. But Catholicism could live without the church. You know,
Oh,
the
sure.
administration.
The church is the people.
Well, I'm talking about the administration. You know,
Right.
the higher ups that are determining this.
Absolutely.
You know. But you need to encourage them. We need to fix them. We don't need to shut them out. We need to fix them, and we need to hold them to accountable. And we have to make sure that they do their job and they do it in the right spirit in which they were given these positions. And this goes also for our brothers in the Protestant faith. You know, these other churches.
Yeah, we need to stand shoulder to shoulder.
If you don't think
too,
the
in
government's looking to shut you down,
that's right.
You're not paying attention.
Right. So we're going to be discussing a lot of controversial topics, a lot of very hopeful topics that you will get nowhere else on a podcast.
No, there may be a couple out there, but who knows?
Maybe one. I love you, brother.
All right, love you too. All right, hang in there, and I'll be back.